Hi, I'm Monica. I'm from the Conan Adult Day program. Today, I'd like to do a seniors fall prevention with you. I took a course through the University of Victoria. It's the Canadian Falls Prevention, and I have some information I thought it was just really great to share and something that we can take home with us and think about ways that we can prevent our own selves from being at risk. So this is where some of my information came from, my textbook, as well I used some different Google sites. So what is the meaning of a fall? I was asked that when I started my course, and it really makes you think. The definition is kind of hard to give, but we know what we don't like is falling. We don't like that feeling of that loss of control. So if I ask you, what does a fall mean? The definition in the dictionary says to move downward, typically rapidly and freely without control, from a higher to a lower level. The definition from my book that we used was unintentionally coming to rest on the ground, floor, or other level with or without injury. Did you know that falls are a significant and preventable problem? That is what I want to discuss with you today in our PowerPoint. So to start, we'll do some not so fun fall facts, but it is really good to know and understand that we are all at risk, especially as we get older. On average, 30% of community dwelling older adults 65 plus fall one or more times per year. A third of those falls leads to injury that limit normal activity and require medical help. Falls are the leading cause of hospitalization and death among those 65 plus. 85% of injury-related hospitalizations are due to falls. 95% of hip fractures are due to falls. Over 1/3 of seniors hospitalized due to falls end up needing long-term care. Even without injury, falls lead to fears of falling again. This can lead to isolation, immobilization, and depression. And working with seniors, I have seen that a lot. People said, oh, I've fallen and I'm afraid to fall again, so I don't go out for walks, or I don't go out if I feel like the weather's bad. And I totally get that. They're protecting themselves. But at the same time, if we do that, we can't sit at home and be sitting all the time. We have to make sure to be getting up or exercising even in the home to keep our muscles strong. So what causes a fall? So we have four things that work together to keep our balance. We have our visual, what we see. The light allows us to understand what is going around us, our spatial awareness. Our vestibular, so our inner ear. So someone like me who I do struggle with vertigo a lot, I know that just my ear acting up really affects my balance when I'm having a really bad bout of it. Your sensory, your feedbacks, your spatial location, and your muscular skeletal, which is your joints, ligaments, tendons, and nerves. That all works together so that when we're walking, we don't fall. These systems speak to our brain and work together for us to walk and have balance. When one system stops working so well, the others compensate. Age-related changes can allow gaps between these, and that's what affects our balance. So to start, we're going to look at our homes. That's something that we can all do. We can go home and see, what risks do I have in my home that I could actually fall? I want you to look at this picture. It's over exaggerated, but I mean, we may all have seen this in our time. And just see on here, what is a fall hazard? So just looking through, I came up with 14. There's probably more, but just starting at the top of the picture, I see this woman coming down the stairs. She's wearing slippers without backs. I know that we want to have a proper footwear, especially with a back, because that slipper could just fall right off or half off and she could trip on it. And coming down the stairs, she's got boxes on the stairs. That's a trip hazard, as well as the two rugs that are kind of folding over. They're not staying on the ground nice. If you don't want to get rid of those throw rugs, then you can buy tape that actually keeps them down on the ground. It's like a reversible tape. I think I've even seen it at the dollar store. Then you've got newspapers sitting on the corner of the table ready to fall. We've got a rug over the heater, a cat. So it's not that you can't have a cat or small animal, but maybe put a bell around their neck or something so you hear it when it's around you. There's a cigarette on the table. It's lit and it looks like it's falling. It's a fire risk. So it's not a fall risk, but it's a fire risk. Could also lead to falls if you're running. You've got the coffee pot there. It's really hot. It's overflowing. Your medication's open. So on top of fall risk, there's a lot of health risks here. And one other fall risk I see is the man sitting on the chair. He's got a footrest, which is great. I know people need to have their foot up, but just however you set it up, be careful so when you stand up, it's not a tripping hazard. So these are some things we're looking for in our home to ensure that we can see and we're not tripping or falling. So you want proper lighting in your home, especially in your hallways. Low seating, some people have a favorite chair that is very low. So they recommend just putting a pillow on it so you're seated a little higher. We don't want blankets on the ground. Any spills, any clutter needs to be picked up. We want the ground to be empty. So if we're running around or walking around, we're not tripping. And dog toys, something I've tripped over a few times this past week. My dog has a new toy, keeps dropping it. So I should just be paying attention and putting it where it should go instead of letting it stay on the ground. So risk factors, we need to identify our risk factors. One big risk factor is medications, especially medications that make us feel sleepy or foggy. That's something that is a high risk for falls. I know some of the medications we need to be on, but it's always good to go to a pharmacy and only use one so they know all the medication that you're on. And then they can look at it and see how it all affects with each other and maybe can talk about getting rid of some or downing the amounts, whatever it is to make your head feel a little more clear. Your activity level. So when we have reduced physical fitness, we lose our muscles. We need to get some daily exercise. Mobility, so if we have a hard time walking, that's already a risk, but make sure you're using your assistive device properly. You can have it measured, you can use that walker, and if it's used right, that's going to take your risks and not be so high. Chronic conditions, acute illness, women are at higher risk, and the older we get, we're at higher risk. Visual impairment as well as eye disease. So this gets worse as we get older and it can affect your depth perception. So make sure you're having regular checkups and wearing your proper prescription glasses. Excessive alcohol. So we got to be careful how much drinks we have each day because obviously too many drinks can lead to falls. These are some risks we can definitely work on. So your footwear, we don't want footwear where you're sliding your foot in, no backs. You have to make sure there's good traction, maybe in something you can tie up or just something that you're putting your foot in and you know it's not falling out. You also don't want it to be too big, too tight. It's really important to have good footwear. And you can have that wearing in your house too. You can have maybe a pair of shoes that are indoor shoes and that can help you get around the house better. Because some slippers they're just too big and they're just falling off, and that's a tripping hazard. Clothing, we want to make sure that your clothes are not dragging on the ground. One thing I read, I thought it was funny, is not to wear silky pajamas, but it's true. You don't want to sit on your bed and just swoosh right off the bed. So we got to be careful with that too. Using your assistive devices properly. They're linking more and more to proper nutrition and hydration. So staying hydrated and eating healthy. And I know myself, you're eating junk food, not the healthy food, you do get a bit of a brain fog and even dehydration. So all of that's really important just to feel your best. And that includes having a good night's sleep as well. Lack of isolation, lack of socialization is another problem. And this is where we come in at OSCC 55+. We're a community where you can come in and be part of a community. You can play games, you can join a day program or join fitness classes. And getting out in the community really reduces your risk of falling because you're getting out, even just moving and getting in a car or bus to come to us, you're moving your body. So we're turning knowledge into action. So we know there's fall risks, but that doesn't mean you're just like, okay, that means I'm at risk. There's things we can do about it. So we're getting our eyes checked. We're making our home safe. We're making sure our medications are proper, that they're not interfering with each other. Their side effects aren't too much, and we're going to get some exercise. So some modifications we can make in our homes would be to install handrails, especially beside your toilet or your shower. And some people even recommend putting handrails on both sides of your stairs going up, so you can have two sides to hold on to. The non-slip mats, make sure everything's lit up good. Here's a house we'll show you. In the bedroom, they recommend a nightlight. I know in my house, because I have kids, we put a nightlight in the bathroom. So when they open their door, they can see like the hallway and the bathroom's lit up. So that's an option as well if you can't sleep with a light on in your room. Sitting down to get dressed so that you're not risking when you're trying to get your pants on, that you're not slipping. Stairs and hallway, make sure that you could have handrails on the stairs, anti-slip strips. So if you have wooden stairs, you can put this anti-slip strips on the stairs. And make sure your path is well lit and clear of hazards. In the bathroom, you could have a shower chair. We've got our grab bars. You can get a seat raiser on the toilet so you're not so low, so it's easier to get up off and on it. In the kitchen, you want to make sure everything's easy to reach. You don't want to be reaching high up or getting on that step stool to reach all the time. You want to keep everything down where you can grab it. In the living room and the rest of the house, the big one is the cords. Like, you do not want all those cords around. That's such a tripping hazard. Make sure they're tucked around the wall and nothing's sitting on the floor. You want to make sure your chair's high or you add a cushion, and keep the floor clutter free. So we want to keep safe and healthy. We need to keep our health in check by keeping our medications monitored, daily exercise, improved diet, and proper use of our assistive devices, as we've just talked about. We can lower our risk by understanding what our risks are and then making the steps towards making our life a little safer. So the next thing here I have is an exercise you can follow along. So you could pause it, or you can look this up too on Google, but it's all falls prevention, and you can even go on YouTube and type that in, and there's so much good stuff that comes in with physiotherapists. But talk to your doctor first, make sure that this is an option for you, and they can talk to you about how to start, like maybe start slow and work your way up. I would talk to them about that, and talk to them about your concerns of falls. I like this. We got to get started. When do you get started? You have to just do it. We have to start now. It always seems impossible until it's done. So not everybody likes exercise. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be something you hate, but we should be moving our bodies. Sorry, allergies. So we have some exercises I'm going to quickly go through here with you, and you can come back through it if you want to. So the sit to stand, I recommend doing this every day. Sitting on your chair, if you need to, you can hold on to your chair to stand up and sit, or you can cross your arms and stand up and sit. You can do it up to 15 times a day, and it's just building those muscles so that we never have a problem or need help getting out of our chairs. Toe taps and up on toes. So you just got your heels down, toes going up and down. You can do that up to 15 times, and then up on your toes, and you're doing the heel raises. So you're going to hold on to something for this. If you do have good balance, just have a chair in front of you, and that can be there if you feel a little loss of balance so you don't fall. Marching on the spot, this is good even with a walker with your brakes on. You can do up to 2 minutes of marching, but start maybe even just 10 steps, just marching and holding on to something. Mini squats, so you can hold on to the sink or counter and just squat down. Anytime you squat, just make sure that you can still see your toes. Your knees should never go past your toes. Alternate leg out and in, so it's just kicking out to the side, holding on to something, and you're just kicking that leg out, and we'll take turns with both legs. Alternate leg behind. So you're really holding on for this. You're not moving forward. You're not risking fall. So you still want a straight body, and you're just kicking that leg behind, and you take turns. I thought this one was kind of fun. Step, dance, and feet together. So it's just moving that leg out and forward and back, and it's just getting that leg moving. So this one I definitely would, even if you have good balance, I'd probably hold on because you're really moving that leg around. Lots of videos on YouTube. This is my favorite. I just showed a picture of it. If you find it, it's a cartoon version, but it has a really good exercise, only 3 minutes. And if you did that every day, just keeps yourself strong. Sitting to standing. Another one, if you can, if you're able, if you can sit on the ground and get up, Do that every day. Sit on the ground and get up, stand up. Because if you fall, then at least you can bounce back up. Like you're not, if it's, especially if you live alone and you don't want to fall and be stuck on the ground. So just another thing that's just protecting you. So just to have those muscles and that strength to get up by yourself. So I know I have lots to say and I could just keep going on. I hope this helps. Just pay attention to what's in your home, any tripping hazards, and in the community, just make sure you're using your mobility devices properly. Yeah, just come on out to community centers. I know we're not open right now, but just if you're isolated, just to reach out. And if you need help or have concerns, that this is a big issue for a lot of people. We're all at risk. This is not something that you should be afraid to talk about, and I hope you're not. And if you have any questions at the bottom, you can just type it in and maybe we can have a chat even at the bottom of this program. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to me chat about falls prevention, and I hope you stay healthy and well.